And I'm so happy to welcome Aashish today. Uh, we go back to the days in IMTECH, and now currently he's a staff scientist and a bioinformatician at Bergen, Norway. He specializes in genetic aspects like cancer, tuberculosis, and rare disease conditions. He's by profession a bioinformatician, but he's also a poet, a professional whistler, and a mentor to the disadvantaged youth through an NGO. So, welcome, Ashish, and thank you for joining me for this first uh, episode of Shodh Ka Pratibodh. Let me start with the nostalgia part. Our story with GS Lab, as we used to call it at IMTECH. It was a unique period for growth and learning. So, how do you look back to that phase?
Hi Vijaya, thank you for inviting me. It's very pleasant to see you after so long, at least on screen. Um, GS Lab was the time where I really start seeing myself as a scientist. I was not a scientist there, I was a project assistant. But so everything just everything got real after your education, how you apply your knowledge, how you apply your skills to solve real problems, real scientific problems. Um, and then it was this time when I was really among the most elite mind I ever saw in my life. So it could be Dr. Sahani sir, or Shekhar or you, and all the PhD students, and other PhD students from different lab, and great talks and seminars, etc. So it was really a good experience, and it was kind of a steep learning curve, but it also gave me a lot of scientific aptitude uh, on how to see the problems. Apart from that, there was a lot of fun stuff, which we really enjoyed, because it was this biochemistry lab, and I was coming from bioinformatics, and I saw the pipette for the first time, basically, and that was also kind of joke which Dr. Sani told Shekhar, कि इसको तो इसने तो pipette पकड़ा भी नहीं होगा. So then I told Shekhar कि मैंने देखा भी नहीं है basically, so this is, but thank you for their trust that I really got exposed into this, and then we started doing stuff, and so it was a great time. And then what I especially also remember, that apart from that, the person who has not saw the pipette, he was doing, more than 3 purifications in 2 months. So I would say that it was really good training, um, really good time. और उसके अलावा दिन रात की मेहनत, and also मस्ती, if you remember जामुन तोड़ना, and
All the
so
fun things we used to do,
yeah,
yes.
yes, so it was great.
We are blessed to be mentored by Dr. Girish Sani. May his soul rest in peace. And we know that I know you personally, and we have gone to different continents, and still we've been connected. I remember those late night chats when I was in Canada, you were somewhere in Europe, Poland. So your journey took you from India to different countries, and then there were different learnings and challenges that you faced, which we call the Kensho moments. And absolutely, that rigorous training was a strong foundation when you learned about the ropes of research. So, how do you describe your struggles from starting from your journey from graduation till where you were until PhD or postdoc?
I think this manifestation starts much early when you are in school, let's say. So you always see yourself, right? I mean, mostly in very primary age, you want to become a pilot, or a doctor or someone, right? Um, but it was like this junior high, or eighth class or something, when I really started seeing myself as because I was a curious one, and especially in biology, I like to do like a small tricks or experiment and etc. So couple of us was really start thinking that we are going to be scientists, but we don't know what scientist is, we don't know how to become one. There was no mentor because we come from a background where there was no scientist. We are basically first generation researcher, in our family. I think that goes for you as well. So, but us time and even the I mean things start with that you because we also come from the time where the career for biology student was to become a doctor, and so that was also was not happening to me. And when I joined DU for life sciences, and there was this lot of botany, chemistry, and zoology as very core subjects, and there also it was fun, but even then that there was no path clear that how to become scientist. And then at that moment maybe I kind of stopped thinking about it for a while. um, BSc के बाद there was 1 year of a break, and इस उस break में also I was also thinking about what to do. So again the path were not clear. There was no one around me who would tell me that you should do this or that, and I was also pretty unaware. I mean now I see that kids are still much aware, but then I decided, okay, so let's study further and let's see what happens, So then I start applying for masters, giving exam and etc. So it was also good that I got into Jamia Millia for bioinformatics. So it was a competition exam, and I was really, happy and charmed up, okay, but why bioinformatics? Because bioinformatics was really, really new, fresh from the oven, and it was first batch in Department of Computer Science in Jamia Millia. So the course was really overlapping with MCA, and I was seeing that that MCA guys are of course better in programming than us who were dissecting pila, cockroaches, and frogs and making slides, right? So and that time it became bit challenging but bit motivating as well. And so in during those 2 years we did like good science, and we were studying good. Mm, we got through, but uske baad there were kind of not much placement. I mean bioinformatics there were no much jobs, so basically some programming job, and top 3 4 of us got picked up. And so then I thought, okay, what's next? So the thing is that the aptitude which worked for me, I start giving interviews, and I thought that maybe we can start with one problem at a time, because for me programming was a taboo, okay, at that point. So I thought, okay, let's take some extra course and work on it. So I became a web developer after a short course, and that stint was for 6 months. That was my first job. Not the prettiest job I did, but basically lots of hard work. But then again, I got rid of this fear of programming. Now I can say, yeah, because I developed a website, it was, and uh, and it was really unrelated. I was working on uh, a, a website for a DJ in China. So, so and that this but then I was ready that I have not have to stay there, and then I gave an interview in MTech, and that was for actually for bioinformatics lab, and they asked me that whether I would be interested in wet lab work. So I said yes, why not? And because one problem was to get over fear of programming. Let's say it was done, and then second was of course to go more into science, and that was also an opportunity. So then I was really planning to leave this web developer job. I overstayed my welcome, I felt, um, and then Dr. Shekhar called, and then he said, "Okay, would you like to join?" And it was such a good lab. Basically, I checked the profile, and I said, "It was director's lab." Couldn't say no to. So I said, "Okay, here we go. I'm going to learn fine science here." And there it started. Seriously, it became like really serious really soon. And then the second problem of understanding science, it got developed further. Good training, I mean it was, I really, then again after 1.5 year, of course I was not in bioinformatics yet, still, right? So I was thinking, okay, what to do? And then I got one offer from Dr. Reddy's when I was in MTech, and then I went to Dr. Sahni that, I wanted to do PhD, as you know, and now there is this offer and possibly good, salary, etc. for that time. So he said कि तुझे patient चाहिए. And once you join, once you join this company or any company, the dream of PhD will fade away and become impossible. And that was good advice, and then because I was really in a ditch, that, of in this craving to do something else, to go back to bioinformatics again. And then I was thinking, I was loving this job, that's fine, but that is not permanent. And that is where you have to realize that what you are enjoying will work for you in future or not, right? So उस टाइम कुछ दिख नहीं रहा था. There were no hope. I was thinking कैसे करूं, because there were no particular bioinformatics PhD program except for one. So there were no proper net exam for bioinformatics, and I know that I couldn't crack it with all, with the lab work and etc. So Dr. Sani asked me to decide whether I want to go to the company or want to have some patience. He said that, his recommendation will be there when I apply next. And I was already applying. So I said, okay, let's hang on for a bit, because when people, your mentors, believe in you, and that was with other also, so that who were training me, that if they believe in me, so then, okay, let's hang on for a while.
You're doing good. That means that confidence, right? Yeah.
Yes. So उसमें then I actually इस बात के बाद it was not long that when I got this offer for this European scholarship and PhD in Marie Curie Hospital in Warsaw, Poland, and under a good
Yeah.
scientist, a
Let's talk
clinician.
about the Europe part right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me break this to a question now that I know that phase when we all keep on just applying and
Mm-hmm.
we see so many rejections. There is no direct path or not sure shot solution to when you're pursuing a PhD, or for that matter, I know who are doing PhD in India and applying for postdocs. There are multiple rejections,
Mm-hmm.
immaterial how your profile is. So one does go through that phase. But why choose Europe? And when you went to Europe from the Indian work culture, what was the cultural shock or the work ethics that were different, and what you learned, which made you hone better as a researcher? So why Europe and the cultural shock and the difference?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I never got interested in US somehow, and I was always allured with the culture in Europe, with the travel opportunities, lots of charm in different part, I mean, it's like India, you go to different place, 500 kilometers, different culture. It's like that. So that always attracted me. That was one. That was slight closer to home, so I was thinking, that I would be able to, come frequently. And and then I think the main part of going to Europe was that I was ready to get into new culture. I was reading about, like we were reading about a lot of articles, in science, and Europe seems to be, of course, as good as US or Australia and etc. So because there is this one wave which goes to US, or goes to Germany and goes to UK. So yeah, I was never a wave following person. I was rather, where I find myself basically. So, and but then I was applying everywhere. I was applying everywhere, getting rejected. Some people were replying because in Europe you can also get response. So what I started doing was that I was asking them that why I'm being rejected. Can you help me for my next interview if you tell me? So that and I got some feedback, that you need more experience. We found someone who was, better at this and etc. So then I start comparing myself that how I can upgrade myself. Um, यूरोप आना एंड यूरोप आना क्योंकि there were some good choices I have to make. First, in a project assistant salary, you don't save much. Chandigarh was expensive city. We were sharing rooms and etc. Right, with Vinay, and तो उसके बाद then I was not being able to save up for TOEFL exam. So, so that was also going out of window for the countries which need TOEFL. So, and then I was keep applying. I mean, I was thinking, okay, I will start preparing for TOEFL. It will take 1 year, etc., etc. But I was keep applying because even if you feel that you are not ready for particular application, but you want to, I would say just do it, right? Because they will not kill you for applying, right? So it's no harm anyway. So then, and I think that was a good strategy for me because I did not wait for TOEFL exam, and I just kept applying. And then there is this doctor from hospital. He called me and he said, there is this. That's how that we want you. And he took interview. And I told him that I do not have current bioinformatics experience. He said, you have the foundations. Programming. You understand biochemistry. It's okay. And so and that's how Europe looked to me. That's the first impression that they trust you. They don't over doubt you. If you tell something, they will ask you very specific question and they will evaluate based on that. They most of the time they will not stereotype based on their experience with similar kind of people and etc. So that way Europe was really cool. So I was thinking, and then I said, and I also said to this person, he wanted me to come early, and I said, I want to stay with my family, and he understood that, so he said, okay, take few weeks and then you come. And I also told him that we cannot I cannot book my tickets basically. So he booked tickets for me as well, and I mean, usually most of the time they get reimbursed, but that time it was the option that I book money or he tickets or he books. So it was a good start. And when I landed, it was a lot of snow. So, and I just saw only snow for next 3-4 months. So that was shock one, a pleasant shock because I never saw snow basically. And I took the first flight which I ever took, to a far land. So there were a lot of first, if you know, right? So and leaving your friends and everyone to a different land and then try to stay connected because none of us in my family went abroad. We didn't know how things work. Basically, I didn't know how to call. There was no WhatsApp. There were basically Skype, and you cannot teach your parents how to use Skype in a day, right? I mean, so that was also, so those things. But then we take step forward, then we power through. But culture in Europe is um, is supportive. I mean, of course, from crossing the road or, going and talk to someone in government office, and in Europe, English is not the main language, in most of the countries, right? So you struggle with that as well. And then the people see you, I mean, they have different mindset, right? They are, you may say that they are reserved. They will not invade your personal bubble. They will not help you unless you ask them, etc. It's very different, East and
Yes,
West.
it's a totally different world. And I think that getting out of the comfort zone is something which you have done, from getting from a comfortable web designer to pushing yourself to do wet lab, pushing yourself to do something which none of your family member ever thought of, going all the way to Poland, doing bioinformatics for that matter, from coming from traditional science background, setting yourself in Poland. And this is something which I wanted to ask is that uh, the shortcut, a lot of people then just stop or halt their life thinking that this is my comfort zone and I don't want to risk it, right? But you have done it. You have pushed yourself to going out of the comfort zone. Even for that matter, choosing bioinformatics is beyond comfort zone because it is about writing codes. Coming from a biological background, and I myself coming from a biological background, I understand that it's a learning curve because bioinformatics, my coding is very, very quintessential. Mathematics is quintessential. So, what stands us out from a computational biologist or an engineer? What special does bioinformaticians have? And probably that worked as an advantage for you was securing a position in PhD in Poland as well.
Hmm. Um, Bioinformatics is something जिसमें आप you are not a computer scientist, you are not a software engineer, you are not a mathematician, you are not a biologist, but you are almost everything. You have to be everyone, right?
You have to study a little
Because
bit of everything. Yeah.
yes, and so there is this, intersection of all this, which is almost near superhero, that's how I feel it. You are not a good bioinformatician if you don't know biology. You are not a good bioinformatician, of course, if you cannot, do much programming. So, and of course, there is this steep learning curve, but that's what about, being a scientist is, isn't it? That you like to be in that learning curve, and it will remain there till you are here on this planet. So, and that's the fun part. That बायोइन्फॉर्मेटिक्स में लर्निंग कर्व या दूसरी साइंस में लर्निंग कर्व होता है लेकिन यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा चैलेंज था बिकॉज इट वाज वेरी फ्रेश at that time, and not only for India but for other, I mean, of course they were sequencing genome and etc., but that the bioinformatics what we have right now, and compare it to 15 years 20 years back, it was still a bit raw. um, how it helped me, because ये जो छोटी छोटी जो ट्रेनिंग थी, like for example 6 months of training as web developer, and 1.5 year in IMTECH Chandigarh as a wet lab person. So these are component of that bioinformatician which I am today. And then of course after it was not like that I started feeling that I'm a good bioinformatician after PhD, and they were like journey after that as well. Or in Poland there was this point in life that when I was working on my project, and I thought that I should go out and ask more, you know mathematician and computer scientists that on how my project is looking like. And then I saw that actually that I know something which can enrich their knowledge on how we do protein predictions, and how we do that. So that was also, then I realized that actually because I was coming from a protein chemistry lab as well. So which means that, as a bioinformatician, if you know how things work in science, and it was a good training from BSc, from MTech and etc. So you are equipped. So I see myself, let's say not excellent bioinformatician or excellent scientist, but a person who understands problem. And that's how I see
I
myself.
think that the beauty of bioinformatics is that it comes in multiple flavors. It's a collaborative interdisciplinary science. Somebody
Mm,
could be a bioinformatician, but their USP could be just coding. Somebody
mm,
could be a bioinformatician who understands the nitty-gritties of a bench work and then put it in
mm,
their research. And
correct.
there is so many flavors of bioinformaticians that we see. And everybody has a unique USP, which makes them that you are not all same. And everybody has one space allocated, one job fixed
Mm,
in one space where you are in demand because of your USP skills. That's the beauty of the subject, I would say. And I think that that was a smart decision, pushing yourself to go to that extent. And now, like decade and a almost post decade. I think the first time you went to Europe was around 2010, and now it's
yes.
2025, and you are all settled with family and everything. So that was all the Ken show part. Now, extremely insightful. And now we would want to move to the Satori part and wrap it up from there. Is the revelations that what would you tell? After that, we will talk more about what would you give the final advice to the young researchers. But the revelations, how are you from your USP, from your arsenals of skills, what you have built yourself for the past 3.5 decades and beyond? What do you give back to the society? How do you see yourself from here till the future, till you retire or
I
beyond?
I think we can talk a bit um, about that what happened after PhD. So basically, I was not ready to get settled in Europe again, and I wanted to go back and get settled in Bangalore, or somewhere where to do more
More
bioinformatics.
stable job, probably you
More
want to go
stable
back.
job, more stable life in within my, again, comfort zone. But I think comfort zone doesn't work for me. So what happened was that I went back, found a job. Uh, found a job as an analyst in one of the first service industry in bioinformatics, and it was a good learning curve. Again, I got exposed to next generation sequencing, which I have been waiting for since some time. I was working on protein-protein interaction in silico modeling, etc. for my PhD. So वहाँ पर I start working as an analyst, got exposed to NGS, and also start seeing the real problem people are working on in NGS. It was from academics, from companies, and from India
Just
and abroad.
dealing with the people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dealing with the people. So उसमें दो साल because I defended my PhD in 2016, after submitting in 2014 end. So just after defending my PhD, I got promoted to in project management team because of this, possibly my problem solving skills, that they know that okay, this dude is this bioinformatician, but he can understand what biologists are saying, and that is really required to capture and solve problems on what they are wishing for. And that means that and then actually we started because the we restarted project management team. There was a reboot at that time, and then we start solving old projects and etc. So that was really a good challenge, a tough one, let's say, because client dealing is always not smooth, and especially academicians, so is because they have very particular question and they need last mile support as well. And that became motto of my every venture in bioinformatics, to give last mile support to them so that they can get their project done, they get their publication, etc., and they get the answer, basically what they're looking for. And that's when you learn more, because there are of course company who will do sequencing for you, who will do basic analysis, etc., and they will dump all the Excel sheets and figures on you.
Yeah,
But
go figure
the
on your own. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because that comes with mass production cycles, right? You learn this. I mean, you run this pipeline and etc. So then it is done. But then I really started enjoying this last mile part in project management team, and then I was thinking, okay, what next? See, again, the thing was that in any place I liked, I really liked Chandigarh. I really liked Bangalore, and of course I loved being in Delhi, being born and brought up. But the comfort zone is a start, kind of this is stopping you, or I still wanted to go further. So what next? How can I do better? So I jumped into another opportunities, which was I was thinking, okay, let's go to healthcare, because that is where NGS is actually powerful. And so I got this opportunity to work as senior engineer, a staff scientist in Hokland Hospital in Bergen in Norway. And I was only because now I had knowledge of where to apply in Europe. Okay. And with which will be more suitable for the family. After all, because I stayed there for almost 5 years, and I traveled across, did some internship during that time. And everywhere there is some difference of culture. And Norway became actually the best working place I ever been in, and it became, something which I really like, and extremely, different work culture, and you get credit for the smallest thing you do. You do not have to really fight for that part, and you strive based on your knowledge. You are respected for your knowledge, no matter whether, because here in Norway, hierarchy is not that hard or strong. It's more flat, right? So the leader is actually part of the team, is not sitting on the team, if you know what I mean. So or taking care of the team, right? So he's part of the team. He's there to do, the admin part and etc. The strategy making part, and use his experience part. So um, so yes, so I came to 2019 to Norway, and there, where you made this call that I should really get involved in FEA, and this is something I do, or I don't know. I mean, and it's always like that, someone else, a close friend of mine, believes in me more on what I can do next rather than me thinking about it. So that's also good. I would, let's say that I can give credit to the good communication we had on both sides, right? So you knew what's cooking since some time, and so that was also something when I started giving back, because earlier the idea in PhD was that I can only do something for my country when I'm inside it. But when I was inside, I was barely making, my meets, and, or actually forget about helping someone, or, contributing something to the society. It was, like a demanding job. You're busy, you're stuck in traffic, basically all kind of traffic. And but after coming to Norway, when I started doing FEA, I got this, reminders of what all I have done. All my stories were refreshed, and I saw the practical problem of the youth, basically, which is which is sometimes or many times actually it's not money. It's actually, lack of training, lack of exposure. And it's kind of unfortunate that we are not there yet. I mean, you were, or me, I was struggling with the same lack of mentorship, and we are still, it's a bit better here now. There is internet and everything, but yeah. um so
Yeah,
now.
so I think that when you say you're giving back to the society, you're saying that working on the healthcare has a direct impact, and that your choice of going to Europe, you could support better the healthcare, which was your skill set. Through hard skills, you're supporting the community. And being an Indian, one can support, may not be physically being in the country, but taking that flag to all the way anywhere in the global scale. You are representing a country and doing good work, doing decent work, and that's also contribution to the country in a way. With the NGO sector, definitely you are mentoring, and the power of mentoring, there are so much online resources, but one does get lost in the sea of resources. One
mm,
needs a mentor, a beacon to help them navigate through, somebody who has lived that life to tell them that where would be the right path to go. So even if there are multiple resources, I think even for that AI, we need a human touch, a human who has lived that life to tell you that.
mm.
From the artistic standpoint, you said that you also had whistling and things like those. So from creative side, are you contributing in some way? And let's end it with free, three sharp advices you would give to the youth when they're starting their career.
Mm. So I would like to emphasize on one point that there has to be a balance of creating and consuming, right? So as scientists, we are creative by default, okay? And but think about other people, other job. We're just doing job for example, salary, or your creating is really important. It could be cooking food is also creative. Okay, but now in India you have multiple options that you don't have to cook. So that creativity part is also being taken away. So we are getting more and more into this society who consumes more and create less, and that generates a lot of imbalance in the nature, because we are the only species who are that creative, to all that extent, and so and okay, I do whistle, and I do get opportunities to get on stage, and or to write something what I'm feeling. I'm writing on more mature themes now, so with more gray hair, as experience. When we talk about how to wrap up with very short tips, I would say that one thing is to always find some mentor, more than one. They may not be, for example, guru of something, but they have lived a life, they have walked a path before you, and they will have stories to tell. So if you have more, you can firmly believe in one mentor at one time. For example, in MTech, it was, Shaker who was my mentor, or, Dr. Sahani was my mentor, right? But I was learning from all of you as well, you know, from Dr. Joshi, from you, and, so reaching out to mentors, and of course also peers, your good friends will give you good advice. Actually, for this particular PhD, I would give credited to Hukum, my friend from college, and also Neha, who were actually pushing me every day, which were making me basically to come back to lab at middle of the night, to apply basically. I did not have internet, back home. So reaching out to mentors and peers. And second is that wait when you are doing this value addition, when you are educating yourself, when you are stuck in, or you feel like you are stuck in one job for some time, you're learning there. Okay, salary is not that great or satisfactory, but there are no shortcut. I mean, I know that you can get those job just after school and start making money, etc. But you have to always see that whether you will be satisfied in long term or not. So value addition requires patience. That's number two. And then you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your mentors. You do not have to change your plan every time you talk to someone exciting or nudgy. That so you have to believe in yourself for that point. Yeah. So it takes time, especially in science. It takes a lot of time. I mean, so now I'm feeling that okay, I'm kind of settled, but maybe not, right? And hanging on really helps. Um, the final tip would be, I think we can say safely that in a world where there is a lot of entropy, things will change constantly. Things will change random, go random all the time. And the basic part of human civilization stands on humbleness and kindness, and that takes you a long way. You will never regret being humble within your family, outside on a street, and that's also something which should be part of your giving back to society. Because if you are privileged enough to go to college, to go to do a PhD, to do masters, to go abroad, or do a fancy job, job of your dream, you have earned that privilege to give back to society, because things worked for you somehow. Maybe you were poor or not, parents were aware or not, supportive or not, but you figured out. But many of us cannot, could not, and they are really smart, they're really intelligent. So I will summarize this last trip, that basically what there was professor in Jamia Millia who used to say, a hardworking person can overtake a genius. Yes, that's there. And and these are things, which are stuck with me, because I know I'm who I am, and definitely I'm not the genius. So try to contribute to the society and keep striving on what you want, and that, you know, put some humbleness in it. Try to listen to people, try to see positive in mankind, and then you will be through.
I really, really love that quote that a hardworking person can overtake a genius. And that's a very powerful quote. And I also agree the power of having accountability partners who are you are accountable to. When
Hmm.
you put your all weapons to in front of the friend, and this is all I have, help me strategize. I think that many times just to create a social image, we end up showing some things and hiding certain things because they think we know that they might judge us. And we need our people who would be just there without any judgment. And we have to
Hmm.
find our tribe of people, definitely. I know the U and Y are so transparent about so many things, and that helped us grow as a person also. And because we opened up, we shared for ours our stories, and different perspective comes, because when we are stuck in one state of mind, sometimes we are thinking only in one direction. But then more people, our peers, our mentors, actually help us in thinking some other angle, a positive side, a brighter side of certain things. And that's how I see you with me in this beautiful journey,
Thank you.
and to more beautiful years ahead. Thank you for this wonderful interaction.
Yeah, thank you for being stuck with me for all these years, So I always know that, whom I can talk about these ideas to, We have been doing this, and it was really lovely, finally to document in some way. right? And I hope that it will reach the people who want to hear this, who needs to hear this.
Absolutely. And we always have some connect because what we think we align in certain ways. So that's
Mm.
the beauty of you and
It
I.
takes time to find people who click. That's
Yes,
there, and of course you will find good friends and people who believe in you. But the person who clicks, who really understands you, and that takes time. But then till the time you don't have it, you have to believe in yourself and your mentors, and learn from their
totally.
stories.
Totally, totally. So thank you very much. Thank you
Thank you,
for this
Vijay.
beautiful talk, and I hope that more people benefit from this interaction that I had with Ashish. And I think I will also give your LinkedIn profile so that people can connect with you personally if they have some career related
Sure.
questions, queries.
Mm,
And
mm.
thank you for starting the pilot of Shodh Pratibodh. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that's an honor, Vijay. Can't thank you enough.